Hi guys, this is Max here, hopefully with another great political video, and today we're going to take a look at the 2022 United States governor elections. I always find governor elections very interesting to cover, because they are oftentimes different from national elections, like to the Senate or to the House of Representatives. You sometimes see blue governors in very red states such as Kentucky, or in my home state of Vermont, which is very blue. You sometimes, like right now, you see Republican governors. In fact, Phil Scott, who is the incumbent Republican governor of Vermont, won by the biggest margin of any statewide election within the 2020 election cycle. Not even Joe Biden carried the state by more points than him, which really says a lot. Anyway, now we're going to take a little look at what is going to go down. And first, let me mark up the safe seats for either party. And before I start this video, I'd like to make clear that this will probably be a video that ends up giving the Republicans more seats than the Democrats. Because the Republicans are pretty good at appealing to voters on the statewide level, not saying that the Democrats aren't that either, but you usually tend to see more Republican governors than you tend to see Democratic governors. That's just the way it is. I'm sorry if you're a Democrat. But anyway, the Democrats also got a couple of safe seats. Don't be confused that Massachusetts and Vermont are safe for the Republicans. They were already in 2018 and 2020. It's not, neither Vermont nor Massachusetts are going to flip. Those governors are pretty liberal for Republicans. In fact, you could even make the argument that Phil Scott in Vermont, my governor, is to the left of Joe Biden. But that's besides the point. What I believe will be safe for the Democrats are California. Newsom survived the recall. I doubt he's going to lose a general election. And Hawaii will be safe, along with Rhode Island and New York. Cuomo probably, or at least maybe, would have lost had he run again, but he has resigned, and the new New York governor isn't going to lose. She has a D next to her name. She has no major scandal. I think she'll be safe. Now, are there any other safe seats for the Democrats? As of right now, I honestly don't think so, but there'll be a bunch of likely seats for them. You could say Colorado's going to be safe, because to be completely honest, there are not too many good candidates that the Republicans could run. They might go with not Michael Bennett. What was the name again? They might go with a Republican senator who just lost re-election in 2020. I think his name was Corey, something with Corey, I don't know, sorry. But actually, I'm going to move Colorado down to likely, because this year is going to be a Republican favorable year, and the Democrats are not that safe in Colorado. What will also be likely for the Dems is Oregon. They're going to win it for sure, but it was very close in 2018, even though it was a blue wave year. And on the statewide level, Oregon is usually closer than it is on the national level. I also believe that Illinois will be likely, along with Maryland, New Jersey, and probably Connecticut. Connecticut could be lean, though, because Ned Lamont isn't the most popular governor. I think I might put it lean for now, but things could always change. Now, is there anything else? Yeah, New Mexico is probably also likely Democrat. And I think that's it for the likely Democratic seats. Minnesota will be lean because, again, it's not a national election. Minnesota is a blue state, but it's not that much of a blue state. And Tim Walz is a decently popular governor. I think he'll get reelected. Now let's go to the Republicans. Alaska, you could say, will be either safe or likely. Alaska politics can be very weird on occasions, but I do believe that the Republicans will win it. However, who knows? The Democrats might end up getting lucky. Now, Texas is a state which I would really tend to put as safe for the Republicans, because on that occasion, I'd really like you to look on the 2018 gubernatorial election results. Here, you see, the Democrats picked up 7 seats. And even though that happened, Greg Abbott still won by 13% in a blue wave year, at the same time where Ted Cruz won the state by just about 2%. He Greg Abbott, won the governorship by 13 points, and that was in a blue wave year. So you really got lots of room to fall in that case. Now, you could say that maybe the Democrats could get Matthew McConaughey, of all people, to run, and that's not even a joke. He's literally under the potential candidates list. If you look at the list here for the Texas governor's election, yeah, here it is. Matthew McConaughey publicly expressed interest, but if he runs, he'll probably run as an independent. It would be very interesting to see a three-way race between Greg Abbott, some Democrat, and Matthew McConaughey, but it's gonna be a fun thing for sure. So, anyway, for now we're going to leave Texas as safe. I'm going to put South Carolina likely, though, because Joe Cunningham, a pretty decently popular representative from one of South Carolina's districts who lost re-election in 2020 as a Democrat, is going to run for governor. He's a moderate. He might make it a bit closer, but I still think the state will stay in Republican hands. So will Iowa. It might actually become safe because Kim Reynolds is surging in popularity, but she just won by around 3 to 4 points in 2018. So who knows what might happen. Ohio will probably be likely to be Republican as well, and I'm going to put Arizona as lean, because even though that state voted for Biden and has 2 Democratic senators, it is, after all, still true that Arizona is more of a red state than it is a blue state, at least ideologically speaking. And also, I believe that statewide politics are still different from national politics. All these Arizona moderates in Maricopa County might not be fans of Donald Trump, but they're still fans of the Arizona Republican Party. And Kansas will also be a lean GOP. I'm not saying that the Democratic incumbent governor, Laura Kelly, in that race is out of the way. No, she still can win it. She's quite popular. But in a Republican favorable environment, even in a midterm election year, I have a hard time believing that such a red state would elect her again if she's not running against Chris Kobach yet again, who's very much a right-wing radical and who lost against her in 2018. Okay, now we're moving on to the races that could actually end up being close. Now we're moving away from the ones that are pretty much already determined to go either way. Nevada is a tough one because the Democrat governor there is not too popular, and the former Republican senator is running for governor now. So Nevada has a Democrat incumbent, but he isn't too popular. Since Nevada usually has a history of going slightly into the Democratic column, I'll put it as tilty for now. But it's really a pure toss-up. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I do believe that Tony Evers in Wisconsin will lose. He won very narrowly in 2018, and he won against a decently popular Republican incumbent, Scott Walker. He might actually be back sooner than you think. Either way, Wisconsin is a right-trending state, and in a Republican-leaning national environment, I've said it various times just in this video alone, I do believe that Evers will end up coming short. If we go to Virginia, which along with New Jersey will have their gubernatorial election very, very soon from now, I think I'll actually do a live stream or a special on that. I believe that Virginia is slightly in the lean Democrat column. I would hesitate to put it as tilt, but in the end, because in the end, probably Youngkin is going to come short, and the former governor, I almost forgot his name, but the former Democratic governor of Virginia, he's going to win another term. In Virginia, you cannot run again after you served one term. You have to take at least a 4-year break, but then you can make your comeback. And in this case, the guy making his comeback would be, let's look it up. It would be a certain fellow called Terry McAuliffe, a personally close friend of Bill Clinton. He used to be governor. He's running again now, and I believe he's a candidate moderate enough in order to win in a state like Virginia. Now, we just got a few states left. Now, in regards to Florida, Ron DeSantis should win by at least a lean margin. It might actually be a likely margin. Florida is a state that has not so good COVID rates as right now, but overall, in terms of its culture, in terms of the way how it operates, how it's being run, I think Florida is more like what America should be and how everybody imagines America to be. And Ron DeSantis is a good governor. I think he'll win re-election. Where it will get a bit more tricky are these other three states. And Maine, I believe Maine will be lean Democrat. It's a very independently minded state, so I think they're gonna win. And in New Hampshire, I believe Chris Sununu will run for Senate, and some other Republican will run for governor. And with Sununu running for Senate, though, and with the right candidate being chosen, it might be Kelly Ayotte, a former U.S. Senator from New Hampshire. It might be Scott Brown, a former U.S. Senator from Massachusetts, both Republicans. They'll be able to hold that governorship even with Sununu switching to the Senate. Now, there are 3 states left, and these are going to be the closest out of all, along with Nevada. And I believe that Georgia will go tilt into the Republican column if Brian Kemp wins. For a time, it looked like he was going to be primaried out for simply saying that Donald Trump lost the election, which, to be honest, he did. There was no widespread election fraud. I'm getting ahead of myself. I believe that Brian Kemp is going to narrowly edge out a primary victory and win in the general election, but keep an eye on the fact that I say narrowly. Stacey Abrams or another Democrat could easily come along and win. The last 2 states, Michigan and Pennsylvania, I believe they'll be tilt Democrat. In Michigan, you got an incumbent, Gretchen Whitmer. She won by a pretty impressive margin of 10% last time around. She's not going to win by that much again. She's not that popular anymore, and she's running against the former Detroit police chief, who's a Republican, and who used to be the police chief of one of the most liberal cities in America, which you got to make that happen for a change. You got to make that happen first. So I definitely believe that he'll be able to win statewide in Michigan, but because she is the incumbent and because Michigan did vote for Joe Biden by 3%, I believe it is a complete toss-up, but I believe that Whitmer is ahead. In Pennsylvania, it looks like Attorney General Josh Shapiro, who is a Democrat, is going to be the nominee for governor, and he definitely is favored above any Republican. He has more name recognition, and he also has the better funding. Now, that was a very long, in-depth explanation video, but this is my prediction. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have your own one, please let me know down in the comment section. Likes and subscriptions are greatly appreciated, and I hope to see you next time. And this is my map. Let's see whether it becomes true in a year from now. As of right now, good night, and see you next time.